Hi guys, good afternoon. Lunchtime, I'm sure everybody is really hungry. So I'm Nijoo Dubey and I'm part of the Universal Design Department at NID, Bangalore. And what I'm going to take you through is the perspective that as designers we come from and what's our way of looking at inclusive design. So the two pictures that you see in front of you, the left one is in Bangalore. You see people rushing and trying to, cross the road, and on the right what you see is in Berlin, where there is a little kind of a signage on the lamp post, and you can press that to kind of say that I'm going to cross the road. So this is sort of context we are looking at, yeah, and look at the strangeness and the kind of diversity of it. They are 180-degree opposite to each other. So how do we kind of look at universal design? We look at it as a holistic view and an approach to design process. So we look at it as a process. And we, as educators, look at it as in education and within our pedagogy. So historically, industrial design programs at NID have always had at least one course which dealt with special abilities. But to really start a universal design discipline was quite a challenge even for us within our own community. To convince our own faculties that we need to do this was quite a task, and it took us almost 7-8 years to actually get to it. And I'll quickly try and kind of share with you what happened at this point of time. So 2009 is when the Universal Design Competence Center was put in place, and this was in collaboration with another university in Berlin. Yeah? So it looks at universal design as a responsible activity for a sustainable future. This is how we were looking at it. We also looked at it as a democratic design activity, yeah? And it takes into account gender neutrality, social, economic, and cultural diversity. So a few more thoughts from some of the thought leaders in our community. It's not about designing for them, but it's designing for us. Another speaker in the morning also said that it's really designing for us. As we age, and for youngsters as well, you're aging every day, right? So we will have our own impairments very, very soon. And there are some impairments we don't realize we are having right now. So some little background about how we went about it. And we also were looking at UD in the Indian context. I now realize it's not very visible. So what I'm saying here is every nation or ethnic demography has its own preoccupation. That direct thought in action which determines design. It's a contextual adaptation directed by a need with a democratic, non-violent, useful, rational, and cultural sensibility. We focus a whole lot on the cultural aspect of it. So this is design in India, right? It's not a very unusual sight to kind of see. It's one of our railway stations, and somebody is trying to carry something on the train. But India is a designer's delight, right? Here is an auto. The inside of it is absolutely gorgeously decorated. You've got these cushion kind of things happening inside in very vibrant colors. So you can really freak out, as they say. You know, there's a lot of prolific aesthetics that we enjoy looking at. I think the colors are really changing. Anyways. And it's a challenge, because we will see how, but it's a huge challenge. So many things to solve, resolve, design, and redesign. But these are all opportunities, right? It's a gold mine of problems, because there are so many people of all class, caste, faith, language, age, income, literacy, region, religion. It's a long dhobi list. So who are these people of India? Low to average literacy. This is something we tend to forget. We are differently literate, probably not illiterate. And it's a non-contextual education that we tend to experience, and the delivery is equally non-contextual. We live in congested environments. So many people with disabilities. I wonder if this number means anything to you all, but there are many, many zeros in it, yeah? Half of the India will be in cities. The migration is going to be a huge issue for us. Highest in diabetes. This is so huge. And arthritis affected. But there are good things about us. There are some things nice about us. We are highly adaptable. In fact, we are unable to find problems. We are so adaptable. We are very good at improvising, what some people call jugaad. I don't like the word, but you know what I mean. We tend to reuse things. Culturally, we are sustainable. Indifferent behaviors, no? We get on with life and whatever is going on. Unfamiliar with systemic design. I think this unfamiliarity is what tends to cause a whole lot of congestion in our urban environments. At the same time, there is something about the way we are approaching it that we are not able to understand the people. Very high technology penetration. We are a case study of how we adapted the smartphone actually. In any of the business schools, it's a huge discussion. Variance in media access. Learn from others. We learn in communities, we learn from our parents, our immediate environments. These are all things, unique things about us. Gender bias. I'm so happy to see the height of this rostrum. I did notice that there was no ramp, and it's something we will address in the future. But this is a really nice height. Every time I go to a conference, it's so annoying to find these things to be so high. Yeah? Frequently traveling and migratory. What is universal design? Yeah? You can keep kind of questioning and kind of figure out for yourself. I'm sure there are many spaces you'll find which will be interesting. I'll have to rush because, yeah, so this is again very fairly common sight that you will see on our roads, right? There is a bike, which is a very high aspiration product, and so many youngsters want it. Here is a woman sitting at the back. She's in a synthetic sari. She can probably slip and fall any point of time. And there is some sort of a mandatory thing put at the back to kind of secure the person sitting at the back. It's such an exclusive product. It is such a masculine product. Something to think about, right? But very aspirational. Therefore, in India, in Indian context, design for diversity is the way that satisfies needs of many, usable, comprehensible, affordable, and appeals to many, many people. This is a question often asked. Will it work in India? You see all these images at the bottom. Like I said, we are sustainable. EVM has worked, right? To an extent at least, if not, if you don't be skeptical. It's the largest democracy, and look at our polio campaigns. So I think everything works in India. Yeah? This is something that was developed a couple of years back, and my colleague Professor Ravi Shankar was part of it, and you can see a list of authorities in this subject matter. In fact, you can refer to them at any given point of time. And these were the 5 principles that they had come up with, which are core to universal design process. Yeah? It's a design process. So it's equitable, saman, it is similar for everybody, it is easy to use. It takes into consideration the cultural aspect, the very fact that I'm an Indian, I have a different sensibility, I have a different learning pattern, it takes into account all of that. It's economic for the people that you're actually looking at, and it's aesthetic. This is also something we have been it's been very central to how we approach the subject matter, that the product should actually look like a good designed product and not look like it sits in a hospital or anything of that sort. These are the 5 attributes that I talked about. I hope, yeah, it seems to be quite legible. So what is the need for this thinking process? Because cultures are reaching out, we have to work for a sustainable future. Migration is something we will have to tackle. We are already tackling right now. Noida, you see it so much actually, the disparity between the people living and the ones who are coming. Products which are driven by technology, products built around technology, manufacturing processes versus processes built around design and not technology, and so on and so forth. I can share this if somebody wishes to look at it. So what is the UD way? We do say that incremental is good. Every time you need not design a new product, but you could really think of making the existing one slightly better and then make it better and better. Yeah? So it looks normal. It has to look as if it's made for everybody. And it looks at the system, which is the immediate environment, and the super system, which is, when you kind of zoom out and you macro it out, you start seeing other things. And how we approach it in classroom is something like this. We start small by saying, here is your home, and how do you kind of look at it in your immediate environment, in your family context, and redesign it. And you look at objects of peoples of all ages, demography, and health conditions. Again, coming back to what the environment that we live in, this is for Gen X, Y, Z, for I don't know which is the next one. This is something we had taken up very early on, even before we started the program, wherein we looked at the average lifespan of any person in our country, and we looked at the activities, products, spaces, and health aspects at each stage of life. So at each stage of life, one is abled and disabled in a different kind of a context. And this kind of gives a broad overview of what those are all about. And this is what broadly our curriculum is about. So design fundamentals is what we start with. This is very essential to any kind of a design endeavor that you take up. It moves on to really understanding the thinking aspect of design, and then it moves on to evangelism, participatory, and actually making products. Some of the things that we have worked on.
We're almost up with time.
Yeah. You'll have to give me 2 minutes. I have to show some projects, yeah? So some of the projects we took up in the Competence Center. Indian Railways has been an agency we have collaborated quite a bit with. Some of how do you climb onto a railway coupe, right? It's such a challenge. So what I'll do now, I will very quickly run you through images of products, because we have product designers and they need to see what they could be doing. Can one of you help me out with this out here? This is again not minimizing and... Okay, fine. So what I'm showing to you is some of the works of our product design students. It's a pretty old work, but I think it still holds so relevant. If you look at this chair, there is a very large cushion over there, which is a seat of another chair actually. And the person who sits on this is actually the director's secretary in our institution. This is a very common chair, right? It's everywhere. And this is what she needs to do for the chair to work for her. Some of the things that we feel passionate about and we feel we should be taking up, these are everyday problems we like to solve. How does one reach to an object which is very high? I'm sure your mothers experience it, your grandmother, you would be yourself experiencing it, your kitchen, your wardrobes, all of that. Very simple solution of a chair that looks like a normal chair, but then transforms into something else that facilitates you. We do talk about dignity a whole lot, and also dignity of people we see around. This is a solution for a porter on your railway station. They carry your luggage for you till the train, and can we make it a little more elegant for them to actually do this task? Yeah. So here is a product concept which is catering to the porter and being able to take your luggage to the railway coupe, and it was prototyped as well. Very simple tasks in your home, guys. I think that's what you need to look at also. Look at your mothers, look at your fathers, look at your sisters, look at your immediate environment. So here is a product that actually combines a whole lot of cutting tools that are in your kitchen, and it kind of puts all of them together into this one contraption. It takes the nuance of the boti or the hasiya that you have, which women sit on the floor and chop vegetables, and it tries to combine it with the regular different kinds of knives. You can still sit on the floor and operate it, but there might be a time where you have arthritis and you may not be able to sit on the floor. But I still need to cut the vegetable the way I know how to do it, right? A watch, which we say it's a universal watch, which has the braille and the regular usage combined into it. It should look stylish, guys. I think that's one key thing. It should not look like a medical product. So it's aspirational, it's gender neutral. It does not look like it belongs to a man or a woman. such a simple task, and actually the product has been figured out fairly well. This is the lug wrench that you use to actually change the wheels on the car. But the way the product looks like, it's just this thing of metal, yeah? It's fairly easy to use, but the whole aspect of gender neutrality, can we make it more friendly to look at and therefore invite far more people to feel comfortable using this product? So gender neutrality is also something we've worked on. A jar lid, which facilitates many people to be able to operate it easily. You may not realize it right now, but it's at any given point of time, if you hit your hand somewhere, you will experience how hard it is to actually operate a regular lid. And there were many variations that the student worked upon. And what you see on the right is the sort of prototypes that he figured out. And you know, it looks so seamless. It looks like a lid. It looks like something that closes things. It almost looks like a design, but it does something more. And that's my last example. Thank you so much.